Hello, Excellence family. It's Danny Barnes, Director of Agent Relations. I'm here with Paul Sardone, attorney with Excellence Title. Would like to welcome everybody to Mortgage Monday. Today, Paul's going to talk about forbearance agreements and how it affects your or could affect your closings. And I'll turn it over to you, Paul. How you doing? Hope you're doing well today.
Good, Danny, doing good. Yeah, just wanted to touch on that topic because it actually came up at a closing. So last year with COVID, a lot of the banks, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac backed loans, they started allowing you to do these forbearance agreements, where you didn't have to make payments for a certain amount of time, especially if you showed hardship or you were out of a job, whether it was temporary or unemployment, and then let people get back on their feet. Well, that wasn't free mortgage. It was a
Right.
forbearance, which is like a deferment. So a lot of people ended up reaching agreements with their lenders where those payments were kind of either tacked on to the back of the loan. In some cases, certain lenders treated it as a second mortgage. Um, so the reason why it came up is we had a closing with a seller, and when we requested their payoff letter, it said we had to contact the servicer for additional payoff information. So they owed about 360 on their loan, which is what they thought they owed, but they also owed, I think it was 28,000
Wow.
forbearance amount, which was technically a second mortgage. So for them to release the liens, they needed both of those to be paid.
Yeah.
So that kind of screwed up their ideas of what they're going to walk away with at the closing. They were planning to use their proceeds as a down payment on another home, and we're not aware. So that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, as an agent, when you're taking a listing, if they haven't been paying or they're in a forbearance situation, just make sure the client's clear on what they owe. And the other aspect of that is the so these moratoriums that they had for foreclosures have been extended through June 30th of this year. Now, there's speculation as to whether it'll be extended again in May, but it may not, depending on where things are at that point with COVID. So that could present some opportunities for agents, for listings of properties that could start, they start receiving these foreclosure notices that maybe they've been, kind of putting it off, and they realize, well, now we owe all this money, we need to sell. So that's something to keep an eye on as
That,
agents, maybe drum up some business.
that's
And we're here to help, when you need them, when the clients need somebody to talk to, and encourage them to list it because, we look at it and there could be in foreclosure. That's something I can definitely help with.
Were you able to close it? Did they have enough
We did
equity?
close it. We got lucky that they had enough equity. It was just, and they understood at the end of the day, it was all there. And
Yeah.
they actually signed off on it. They just didn't read what they did back then and didn't understand. And so when they did their numbers and their calculations, they were walking away with, I think, like $70,000. They're lucky they had equity. But in
Right.
fact, it was more like in the 30s, like high 30s. So they were still able to do what they wanted to do, but it was kind of like, unpleasant there for a day or two as they went back and forth. And they actually threatened, their agent called me because, these people aren't going to close. Like, well, they have to close. I mean, they're legally obligated to
Yeah. Yeah.
close. Then they're in even bigger trouble because they still owe that money and they're going to get sued by the buyer.
Right.
And they're going to owe attorney's fees and
For
court
breach
costs.
of contract, right?
Yeah.
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 That's good information.
Yeah, man. So something new every day.
That's I mean, as realtors, we need to make sure, hey, do you have this? Did you file for that?
Right.
And the seller can talk to their bank and make sure that,
Right. Be
you know,
clear on what they owe. Yeah.
yeah,
Be clear on what they owe at the time of closing and make sure that the numbers, because we can give them estimated net sheets like we do on our website and all that, through the app. And, we don't know what they owe until we request a
till you
payoff. Only
request
they
the
know that.
payoff. Yeah,
So they telling you as an agent, yeah, I owe 300, and you're plugging in the numbers for them with a $300,000 payoff, but it's really 340, then that's not your fault, but it's something to just keep in mind and tell them, if you've been part of any of this forbearance or any of this stuff in the last year, just make sure that you know exactly what you owe with your lender.
yeah. And in my career, a long time ago, I represented one buyer, and um, the seller forgot that he had taken out a second mortgage. Whoops.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We got to the end, and um, anyway, back then, an attorney kind of got involved and got everything taken care of for the buyer.
Right.
Expenses paid back, moving expenses, and stuff like that. So, but we couldn't close because he
Yeah.
owed too
Didn't have
much.
enough equity.
Nobody knew he had a second mortgage. So similar scenario, but
Yeah.
the
That's
forbearance.
gonna start popping up again, unfortunately. So
Off the subject, I mean, everybody, it's $1 million question, but do you see more foreclosures coming down the pipeline in the future with the forbearances and
that's what everyone's kind of thinking, but I think with the way the prices have increased, it might not be foreclosures as far as it gets that far, but it might be more activity as far as people selling
yeah,
that have kind of been riding it out, living in the home as long as possible. And maybe they don't get foreclosed on because their house is worth more than what they owe,
gotcha.
thanks to the increases in prices. But it's a good thing either way because now they were, they walk away with some money instead of losing it to the bank. But it kind of
Right.
creates some inventory.
Since the market's so hot and so high, they might be okay. But
Yeah.
sorry to go off subject. I just
Ah, no
every
problem.
day we get how's the market? When's it going to turn?
I
And
know. When are we going to get more listings or more inventory? And this might create the inventory when they kind of take the cap off that bottle and foreclosures can start again.
well,
People that have been without paying all this time, they say, okay, I can walk away now with some money and my credit somewhat decent, or I can just stay here and lose it all. That might lead to some more listings. So
we'll
hopefully,
save we'll save that for a different Title Tuesday subject.
yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, anything
All right,
else?
Danny.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that was it. And you guys know where to reach us. Any questions or anything, any clients that need any advice, should be easy to find. Track us down on the app or call us or email. And that's what we're here for.
Or Excellence Hub, I believe, too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks for
All right.
joining today. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. And as always, together moving forward.
All right.